there's some tricks, Nick, that I'm going to take.
Okay.
Okay, because this is a list about trick takers.
Wow, straightforward.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph, and yes, we're going to talk about trick-taking games.
I love trick-taking games.
One of the best mechanisms ever, and most everlasting.
Yeah, and relatively new for me. I mean, it's been a number of years now, but like you kind of started playing trick-taking games a number of years back.
Yeah.
We kind of talk about that with number 10 as like one that you started with.
Yep.
But like I started playing trick-taking games within the last like 5 years, and
Yeah.
they really have become some of my favorite games.
Yeah, what's really cool is that it's, there are trick takers based on just the regular 52 card deck that everyone has in their home. And then from there, that mechanism of playing cards, having to follow suit and stuff like that has been twisted around and remixed thousands of times.
Yeah.
I mean, there are new trick-taking games every single year, and there are so many fun ones. This is just like seriously one of the most bafflingly amazing mechanisms ever created for games.
Keep making new ones.
Yes,
How?
it's fantastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 10 of our personal favorites. Of course, there are so many more. So we're challenging you right now in the comments. Put down your favorite trick-taking games because we want to get a huge list of recommendations for people who are coming and looking for trick takers. I think it's something that everyone should have, a handful of different card games because you can take them anywhere, play them anywhere with just about anybody, and they're really fun. So here are our 10 faves. First up on our list of trick takers is, of course, going to be Spades. Spades and Hearts, these classic trick takers, are classics for a reason. They're really fun. Spades made our list because it is the first trick-taking game I ever played outside of like being a kid on a computer and clicking around on hearts with no idea what was going on. I was actually taught and brought into the world of trick-taking through Spades. This was way before I was a board gamer of any description in terms of modern hobby board gaming. But I had some friends that I worked with that played Spades, and so they were able to teach me, how trick-taking functions. If there's a lead suit and you have that suit, you have to follow suit. Once you can't follow, you could play a spade, and then spades can be played. They have to be kind of broken in. And the idea of kind of classic bidding, but this time you're working as a team with a teammate. So you're trying to figure out between you, how many tricks do we think we can win? The other thing that was really great was starting with spades specifically is that I was able to learn about the kind of hidden communication that occurs through trick-taking. A lot of times, if you're on a team or you're playing cooperatively or something like that, you are trying to sort of convey things with the cards you play. So you might, throw a certain card down, if you're going nil or something, you don't want to win, you throw off and it's like, okay, this was the highest card I had in this suit. And so you can like, okay, based on that, I'm going to try to play these things that you lose and blah, blah, blah. And it is just really fun to get into that. So I feel like this was a perfect place for us to kind of start with trick-taking, and then from there, we spread out into the wide, wide world.
Number 9 is going to be Torchlit. Torchlit is a game that recently got picked up by Allplay and is in their kind of square box range. But it's a game that's been around for a little bit, and it's really, really fun. A really interesting, tough trick taker where you are going to have to be playing tricks and you're going to be moving through this kind of dungeon that will go from 0 to 6. There's 0 to 6 spaces, ultimately 7 spaces on there. And basically, you're going to have to bid at the very beginning of the round where you think you're going to end up. You're going to take one of the cards in your hand. Let's say I take my 5. I put it face down. I'm saying I think I'm going to be at the 5th spot at the end of the round. Now, no one else knows what I put there. I'm the only one who puts there. And on the very, very last trick of the game, you'll only have one card, and you can either play that card or you can swap that last card with the card you bid and play your bid card to change your bid. So you're not completely stuck if you just get completely hosed in the round, although it can be pretty tough. So basically what's gonna happen is you're playing out tricks, and the person who leads will play out a trick. It is a must follow. There is a red card, which is kind of like the trump suit, and it's a must follow, and basically whoever wins, they are going to move their person forward in the dungeon. But anyone else who played the same value as the person who won will also get to move in the dungeon. So if I won with like a 4 and then Mike threw off with a different colored 4, he would also get to move along with me. So a lot of times you can kind of just like chuck out there and like kind of move up anyway, if you even want to move up. But if I bid like 0 or 1, I kind of want to stay behind. I want to never be moving with other people. And then another interesting thing is whoever lost the trick, whoever played the lowest value card in the trick, they then get to assign the cards. So basically every suit of card that was played in the trick, one of those cards will go to assign to one of the correct spots. So if this is like a red 4, it'll go to the 4 spot. And however many cards are there are basically going to dictate how valuable that spot is in the dungeon. So at the end of the round, if in the 3 spot there's like 3 normal colored cards, each of those is worth 1 point, and then red cards are worth 2 points. So if I'm the only one there, I would get 5 points at the end of the round. So not only are you trying to land in the spot that you bid, because if you bid correctly, you also get 3 points, you're also trying to land in a spot that has a lot of cards or lose tricks to put cards in those spots. There's a lot going on. It's really, really fun though, but it's got that kind of thing where sometimes you're trying to lose, sometimes you're trying to win, you're bidding on how many tricks you're gonna win. It sounds complicated, but it's really, really good, and the new version by Allplay is very pretty.
Next up is going to be a really fun kind of deduction style, clue style trick taker called Stich for Stich. So this is a game where there is, essentially a knower of the things in terms of an item and a character, a nefarious criminal. And that is going to sort of set the hierarchy of cards that will win a trick. So of course you're trying to win tricks. And you are also trying to deduce what the character is and what the item they have are, essentially like what those pairs are, to be able to get some bonus points. And the earlier in the round you can do that, the more points you will get. And as the knower of things, you're trying to make sure that people don't guess it for as long as possible. And you are also playing cards into the tricks, but with more knowledge than others. So what is really interesting is, the first turn in a round, the first, trick we play, all but the knower, we don't know what's a strong card. We don't know what, suits trump other suits and things like that. So you all kind of play a card down, then you look at the knower and be like, who won? And they go, you won. Okay, so it's like, based on that, everyone starts looking at the cards, like, okay, well, they had the highest number, so maybe none of us have any of the other things, and it's simply the high number that won here. Or was it because of the suit? Or was it because of, the item, the weapon? And so you were trying to do that to figure out, what parts are the pertinent information to try to give to the knower. Because after every trick, you will basically submit a guess and be like, is it this, is it this person and this weapon? And, if you get it right, then you'll get, bonus points and stuff like that, especially, again, earlier in the round. Because as we play out, you'll start to see the patterns emerge of what things are winning. But the first time I played this, and we all played our card down, and we're like, now what? What happened? I was like, that is crazy to me. And then trying to figure out, like, what does this mean? And as the knower, you're kind of trying to play things in such a way that it doesn't inadvertently give away information, because you're the only one that has that info and can kind of, work your way around stuff. It's just really interesting, very different, and really a lot of fun.
Number 7 is going to be Sail. I am always intrigued by 2 kinds of trick-taking games. Really, any trick-taking game. I love trick-taking games. But 2 really, really always intrigue me. Cooperative trick-taking games just are very intriguing to me. And then 2-player trick-taking games are also very intriguing to me. a two-player trick-taking game seems like something that shouldn't work, and yet there's multiple trick-taking games at 2 players. This isn't the only one on this list, actually, but Sail is this really great one by Allplay, where you are working together, basically trying to move your little sailboat to the end of this, like, kind of the sea, basically. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the sea. There's like a kraken and like enemies, all this different kind of stuff. And so you're playing out tricks, and you're basically trying to match this table of symbols. So on these tricks, there's going to be various symbols. There's going to be like little, like, wagon wheels, not wagon wheels, wheels, to turn your boat and stuff like that. There's going to be like mermaids. There's going to be like little kraken symbols. And basically there's this table that basically shows if in the trick there are these 2 symbols, you will then get to do this action. So if you have like 2 of the wheels, you then will get to move your boat. And whoever won the trick, the boat will move in their direction, because everything is done in these like diamonds. That's how the thing is. And so you're not really ever moving forward unless you get 2 mermaids, I believe. You're always kind of moving this like jagged diamond zigzaggy pattern. And so it's that thing where you're constantly like, we need to move, but we need to move my way. Of course, you can't talk to each other about what you have in your hands or about what you need to do. You're kind of trying to do that mind reading thing that I find very, very interesting. This game is very, very fun. It's really hard. I suck at this game. I still really enjoy it, but I'm very bad at this game. And I really, really want to try out Sail Legacy. They made a little legacy game out of this. I'm very curious about it, but I don't know. I like cooperative trick-taking games. I like 2-player trick-taking games a lot. I'm always intrigued by them, and Sail is a very good one.
Next up is going to be Fox in the Forest. There's also Fox in the Forest Duet, which is a cooperative trick taker. These are specifically 2-player trick taking games. And this was the first 2-player trick taking game that I recall playing. And it was something that I was like, at the time, like, does 2-player trick-taking work? And yes, it does, in the right context. So what's really fun about this is you have, 3 suits, and all of the odd-numbered cards have these powers that might allow you to draw a card, switch out the decree suit, I think it's called, the trump suit, and you are trying to win tricks, but not too many. There's this thing of like kind of being humble, so you don't want to be greedy. I think if you win 6 tricks, that's like the most points you can get, but if you win more than that, you get dropped down to 0 for your score. So it's very much a thing where you want to win, a nice medium amount of tricks, but if I see that my opponent is really winning a lot, I am now going to shift my focus to not winning anything, because if you can basically stay under 3-1 tricks, you will get the biggest kind of score possible because you're the most humble. And I really enjoy that kind of push and pull of trying to force someone to kind of go over that, over that ledge. And if it's not going to happen, how do I then get as many tricks as I can so I don't have like a score of 1 or something while they get a much meatier score than I do? I just really enjoy that. It feels really a great way to do a 2-player trick taking. There's a kind of a tug of war, and then they kind of took that in Fox in the Forest Duet. Now you're working together to play, and you're kind of trying to get these gems as you literally tug of war back and forth your little player piece in this kind of forest. You don't want to go all the way out the edge of the forest because that's going to hurt you, and you're trying to get these gems before you essentially kind of run out of time over a series of rounds. And so I like that they kind of continued that and put it more literally with a tug of war and now make you on the same team.
Next up is another 2-player trick-taking game. We talked about Sail earlier, or I did at least, and this one is going to be Claim. I really love Claim. I played Claim very recently again. It had been a little bit since I played it, and I was like, oh, that's right, I freaking love Claim. Claim is a 2-player trick-taking game that plays over basically 2 rounds. And it's interesting because the second round is kind of the only round that matters. In terms of it's the only round that you're going to score in. The first whole round is basically trying to set yourself up for the second round. So this is a 2-player trick-taking game, like I said, and this will be a game where there's gonna be a bunch of these different factions. Those are the suits of the card. There's like dwarves in the base game. There's like doppelgangers. There's like, knights and goblins and things like that. And all of those different suits are going to have something that they do. So basically, like a knight will always beat a goblin. Even if it's a level 0 knight and a level 9 goblin, those are the two highest and lowest cards, the knight will win. And so it's one of those kinds of things. And so all of these different factions kind of work in different ways. And so this is a game where you're going to have the deck of cards, and there's going to be one card face up. So every trick, you're playing for the face up card. So whoever wins the trick will gain the face up card and put it off to the side. That card will be used in the second round, which again is the round that you score. And then the player who loses will just get the top card off the deck randomly. Now here's the interesting thing though. If the card that's face up is like a level 0 goblin, which is arguably the worst card in the game, you don't really want that card. So you want to lose that trick because you know what? I'd rather just take the top card off the top of the deck because it's probably going to be better than that. And so there's a lot of those different kinds of things. And so you basically play out 13 tricks, and at that end, you will each have 13 cards. You're going to take up those cards, play another round, except for now, whenever you win tricks, you will then gather the cards. And what you want to do is have the majority of factions. So if I had like 3 dwarves, Mike had 2 dwarves, I won dwarves. You basically want to win more majorities than your opponent. And then again, this round, there's other stuff that happens. So like say the dwarves always go to the person who lost the trick. So if I played a level 3 dwarf, Mike played a level 1 dwarf, he gets the dwarves. So they all change out. Not to mention with Claim, there's Claim 2, which has all new factions, and there's a bunch of different expansions that have a whole bunch more factions. You can mix and match and play them. They really, really change up the game in very interesting ways. I love Claim. I really like that kind of the whole first half of the game. You're just playing towards the second half of the game. It's just interesting. It's an interesting way to think about it. I enjoy trick-taking games where you're playing for something like that face-up card. I just think I'm always interested in trick-taking games where you are incentivized to lose sometimes. I think that's very interesting. And I think Claim is great.
Next up is going to be a must-not-follow suit trick taker called Tricky Time Crisis, where you are playing these cards. Each of the 4 suits are different types of superheroes. One of the suits is a super villain, which is going to have like much stronger cards than the rest of them. And the whole rule is that when you play down, you have to play a suit that has not been played yet this trick, if you can. If you can't, then that'll end the round. So you are trying to play the highest value card you can most of the time to win a trick, but there's the also added thing of you are going to then draft cards that were played to that trick, and for each of the suits, you can kind of go one of 2 ways. You can either keep one card of that suit, in which case its points will be the value of that card, so ideally if it's a very high card, that would be useful. Or if you have more than one of a suit, they are each worth 2 points each. So that's, going to nerf that score. But if you got a bunch of that color, you could make that, kind of viable. So what's really interesting is that when someone sees, oh, I played this, supervillain card and I got it, and it's worth a ton of points, other people are now going to try to force you to take another supervillain so that it nukes your score. So you get kind of, really in each other's way with this one. Each superhero has basically one card that is like their power, that will change some stuff up. And it's just, it's really fun to like try to get like that perfect collection of one card of each suit and as high value as possible. But of course, everyone's going to do that and try to mess up your plan.
Number 3 is going to be Skull King, the classic Skull King. I actually just played this recently, a couple weeks ago. It had been a while, and I was like, man, Skull King is a classic for a reason. This is a kind of classic trick-taking game where you are playing out your Skull King, your pirates in this game, all these piratey stuff, and so you are playing out tricks, following suit kind of normally, but this is also a game, like a lot of games, where you are bidding on how many tricks you think you're going to win. And every round, the amount of tricks in the round grows from 1 all the way up to 10. So the very, very first round, everyone's just playing that one card. And that's basically it. The second round, everyone has 2 cards. You're playing out 2 tricks. So, you're bidding on how many tricks you think you're going to win, and you can get more and more points for doing so. At the end of the round, if you were correct, let's say I bid that I was going to win 5 tricks, you will get 10 points per trick that you win. If you go over what you bid, you're going to lose 10 points per trick that you were over. But if you bid nil, which means you're trying to win 0 tricks, you're going to get 10 times the amount of 10 points times the round that you're in. So if it's the 7th round and I went nil and I bid nil, I would get 70 points. So if you can do that in the 10th round, you're literally getting 100 points. It's crazy. The scoring in this game is nuts. You can end up with people who have like 200 points, people who have like negative 70 points. It's really, really nuts. But then on top of the normal trick taking, there are some special cards. There are these pirate cards. These pirate cards, they're kind of like the trumps. They will just beat anything out there. There's this Skull King that will beat everything, but then there's a mermaid, and the mermaid will beat the Skull King. It's all that different kind of stuff. There's also some more other things you can bring into the game, but that's kind of the base game, and it's just good. It's just kind of like straightforward trick taking where you're bidding how much you think you're gonna win. It's just great. It's just really, really good. We played it again recently, like I said, and I was just like, man, this game is great. It's just so classic. It's so good. It's one of the best trick taking games ever for a reason. It's just great.
Next up is going to be the Crew Mission Deep Sea. This is the second Crew game. There's a third one coming too, which I'm really excited for. But we love the Crew games. And the Crew Mission Deep Sea for us gets that kind of extra level of enjoyment because it's a little better for scaling of player counts. But this is a cooperative trick-taking game that puts you, all on the same team and trying to complete really specific tasks. And that might be, a certain person has to win the last trick of the hand, or the most tricks, or specifically the first, second, and third trick, or a specific card they have to get, the blue 7 or something like that. So you are trying to make it so that all players can achieve, any tasks they have in front of them. And you are trying to wisely play your cards in such a way that you can make sure everyone kind of gets everything done to be able to succeed and go on to the next mission, which will give you a little bit of story and then also, increase the difficulty. This version of the Crew is really fantastic because each of those tasks will essentially have a difficulty level, but they will be different based on the player count because there are certain tasks that are going to be just easier to complete if you're playing 5-player. There's other tasks that are going to be easier to play, complete if you're playing 3-player. And so now those cards kind of scale themselves, and you're given like a value, threshold to get to. You need to get to 12 difficulty via cards, and that might be that 2 cards come out and you're already at 12 because given your particular player count, they're going to be pretty tough. Or you might draw more cards, you have more tasks to do, but they're going to be a little easier to each, accomplish each of them. And just having that little, bit of flexibility with the tasks and the player count makes this game even more amazing and playable. I love that it's cooperative because now we are encouraged to, really try to communicate with the card play. And then also if someone's newer to trick taking, in between those rounds, we can kind of talk about that. We can kind of talk about, oh, this is what I was trying to say when I played this card, and we can all kind of learn that juicy hidden language of trick-taking and manipulating the card play together. We have the same common goal. It is super duper fun. Even just playing, you can go through a campaign or just playing the game and setting, a threshold of difficulty to get through. This is kind of a game that's just infinitely playable, even without the campaign mode.
And number 1 is going to be Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. You got to love those IP names where you got to say the whole thing. You can also throw in Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers trick-taking game, and I would assume The Return of the King is coming as well. This one is our favorite trick-taking game right now. We love the Crew. Mike just talked about the Crew. And honestly, it probably would have been the Crew if this game hadn't come along because this is a lot like the Crew, except for it's Lord of the Rings. And so therefore, I'm going to like it more. We love Lord of the Rings, as many of you know. But this is a game where you're going to be going through the chapters of the book. So the Fellowship of the Ring, you're starting with a long-expected party. You are starting off in Hobbiton. You will then go to like Bree and Rivendell and then Moria and all these different things. You're going through the story. And in every chapter, which is a round of the game, you are going to be playing with people who are in that chapter. So the very first chapter, you have like Frodo, Merry, Sam, and Pippin, of course, because that's who's around. Aragorn's not there because he's not in the story yet. You know what I mean? Once you get to Bree, all of a sudden Aragorn shows up. Cool, then he'll be around for the rest of it, right? And then each of these characters will have a goal that they have to do. So like Mary always can only win 1 or 2 tricks. Pippin has to always lose the least amount of tricks. Frodo, Frodo is the person whoever has the 1 ring card, which is one of the suits in the game, is Frodo, and they have to win a certain amount of ring cards. Sam has to win a certain amount of like hill cards, right? And so it's kind of like the crew where you have these goals and you're cooperatively trick taking out there, trying to make sure everyone reaches their goals. Cool, great. And then you move on to the next chapter. Then you'll have some other characters, sometimes the same. And then you'll again choose your characters out and then play through. And you're just playing through the story, but it's just so cool the way certain rounds work, again, is always going to be thematic. It's like, oh, this happens in this way because this is what's happening in the book. This is why you have to choose these characters. This is why there's these special rules in this chapter because of these different things to kind of get in your way. It's just so good. I mean, again, if you're like a big fan of the crew or trick-taking again, or particularly cooperative trick-taking, it's just so good. I think it's even really, really good if you don't love Lord of the Rings, but if you, I mean, we're massive Lord of the Rings fans, always have been. It's my favorite book. I read it every single year. I think this is going to be like my 26th time reading it will be this year. I read it for my birthday. Massive fan. So this was just, we played through this, me, Mike, and our friend Jimmy played through this on our channel on stream over 2 streams, and it was one of the greatest like board gaming experience of my life. It was so much fun. We're now starting to play through the 2 towers, which again is kind of more of the same, although it is a lot harder. My gosh. And it's so, so good. I can't wait for the Return of the King to come out, which I assume is coming out. And then I think Mike, Jimmy, and I, maybe one other person, we're going to spend, maybe take like 5 days off work, and we're just going to play through all of them. It's going to be amazing. I love this game. The Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game, all these are just absolute masterpieces in my opinion. So that was our top 10 favorite trick-taking games. Like I said, there's so many you could throw in here. So you could have an entire list of just like normal deck of cards, trick-taking games, spades, hearts, all the different kind of stuff. There's so many. There's new ones every single year. They're just so darn good. I love trick-taking games. Let us know again down in the comments below. Make sure to put your favorite ones down there. We're always looking for new small box card games. And that's going to be it for us. I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
We're the Brothers Murph. We'll see you later, everybody.
Bye.